Hello and welcome, everyone. This is a new episode of New Ways of Being. And in this episode, I'm going to uh, attempt to answer what is a fairly deep and um, broad and, a wide open question about what is consciousness. So I'm going to dive right in, and I hope you find this informative. Consciousness, we talk about it, but oftentimes people don't attempt to answer this question. What is consciousness? So I'm going to attempt to answer it for both those who are quite familiar with the idea of consciousness and raising consciousness, and also for those who are not so familiar. So, what is consciousness? Raising consciousness is beneficial for everyone and will enable us collectively to change the world. I and many other people believe that message that I just stated is important for humanity and the earth. But raising consciousness happens one person at a time. And every person, including you, can help make the world more conscious and life affirming. The subject of consciousness is poorly understood by most people, but it is important because your consciousness is the core of who you are. For example, if you believe that you are lacking in power to do something, you will demonstrate that lack in your behaviors. But on the other hand, if you believe you are powerful and meant to do something, you will do that something and you will demonstrate your capability and your power of consciousness. You will demonstrate it both in what you say and do, because your consciousness determines the person you are being at every moment of life. Now that's an important statement. Your consciousness determines the person you are being every moment of your life. Your consciousness is truly the core of who you are, but it is much more than your beliefs. Consciousness, in a sense, is visible in what we see about you as a human being, but it is really defined at many inner levels within you. And in fact, who you are in your essence is pure consciousness itself. You will see what that means and why it is true further into this discussion. Consciousness is far more powerful and important than most people realize. But you can choose to examine your consciousness at any time by simply asking yourself some exploratory questions, such as, who am I? What do I believe about myself? What do I believe about the universe and my place in it? What do I know I am truly capable of? What is my purpose? Your answers to these questions will say so much about who you are and your level of awareness. I invite you to explore these consciousness raising questions right now. So if you'd like to think about those questions right now, you can pause this recording and spend some time asking yourself those questions and digging into what the answers are for you. But going on, but you might ask at this point, just what is consciousness anyway? The dictionary definition re- relates consciousness to being awake, that is, not asleep. But consciousness is so much more than that. Here is a more useful and true, I believe, definition that I got from Claude.ai. Consciousness is perhaps the most profound mystery at the intersection of science, spirituality, and existence itself. At its core, consciousness is the subjective experience of being, the felt quality of awareness, the what it's like to perceive, think, and exist. It's the inner light that illuminates your experiences and the witness to your thoughts and sensations. Our consciousness expresses who we are and what we are capable of, both individually and collectively. As we raise our consciousness to higher and higher levels, we become more and more powerful in changing our own lives and the world as a whole. In so doing, we actually change who we are. Another word for consciousness is awareness. It's about how aware you are, what you are aware of, and the meaning you assign to the object of your awareness. Self awareness or inner awareness determines your relationship with yourself, including your degrees of happiness and whether you consider yourself successful. External awareness determines your relationship with the world and whether you see it as good, bad, or neutral. You can choose to raise your consciousness by paying more attention to your feelings and to the world around you. Shifting into awareness by meditating or practicing presence or mindfulness, questioning your beliefs, connecting to nature or spending more time in silence and stillness. There are many ways of expanding one's consciousness, and I will dig more into that uh, in the next episode. But this kind of helps to set the context of what consciousness is. So there are many ways of expanding one's consciousness, but it often manifests as love and unity. So in this episode, uh, what I talk about will give you more insights into raising consciousness as well as what consciousness is. And I may refer you to some other helpful resources in the process. The benefits of raising your consciousness are numerous: greater self awareness, reducing stress and anxiety, emotional intelligence, improved relationships, enhanced creativity and intuition, a stronger sense of purpose, and much more. You can readily see that those things lead to greater success in life, however you measure it. But raising your consciousness can also connect you to deeper, more spiritual levels of being. Does the concept of raising your consciousness intrigue you? You can invite yourself to become more aware at any time, more aware of the beauty of nature, for example, or more aware of what you are feeling. You can begin to notice what you are noticing. When you do that, you are choosing to be more self aware. So you can gather that consciousness is all about awareness. When we talk about consciousness, we are not talking about thinking, we are talking about awareness. You become more aware by quieting your mind, focusing your attention, and allowing awareness to expand in the present moment. You surely have heard the idea that the most effective way of living is to live in the present. Present is where, or more correctly, when everything is happening. And it is all about how you choose to be in each present moment. How you are being determines how you will act and even what you feel. In some contexts, Thinking or mind will be included within the umbrella term of consciousness. But when you refer to yourself as I, that I refers to your awareness that you are living from. You are not your body. You have a body. You are not your mind. You have a mind. You have a body and mind help you live in this physical world. And your body, mind, and spirit, which is awareness, together make up your beingness, a creative force. So, who or what are you being right now in body, mind, and spirit? Do you choose to be happy? Do you choose to be empowered to create desirable experiences? Or do you choose to believe that you can only react to what is happening out there in the world around you? Your power and how you feel are governed by how self aware you are and how you decide to be in each moment. You can change you can change your state of being by choosing the I am messages that you think to yourself and by the specific I am beliefs you commit to. For example, I am powerful, creative, and happy versus I am not powerful, not creative, and unhappy. Your consciousness or awareness is indeed a creative force. It determines how powerful you are, what you will do, what you are capable of, what you will create, and how happy you are. Consciousness includes beliefs, but your awareness and choices can override limiting beliefs. Consciousness uh, is a big thing, therefore. It is, in fact, your inner model of who you are and what you believe about yourself. Smart versus not smart, good versus bad, creative versus not creative, etc. You also have an inner model of the world and how it works, whether it is good or bad, and how you fit in the world. And that is very often referred to as your worldview. We are talking about a power within you and about going within yourself and tapping into that power and becoming aware of your inner knowing and the inner resources that are available to you. And you might find that last bit that I said, inner resources, a bit surprising, but it is absolutely true. As the spiritual masters have known for millennia, you do have inner resources because you are deeply connected to the all-knowing intelligence that is the creative power that fills the universe. It is also important to understand that awareness is not binary, aware or not aware. It is an unlimited spectrum of potentiality that extends from very limited awareness, usually because one is trapped in continuous thought, to potentially infinite awareness. Most people who are raising their consciousness do so through a series of steps that is unending. There is always room for higher perspectives, greater insights, and less distraction, negative thinking, and judgment. It is a continuous process of learning and choosing how you will respond to the world and your own thoughts and feelings, and of discovering through your own experience that your creative power and potential are unlimited. Now, I asked ChatGPT to expand on the definition of consciousness to take into account spirituality and cosmology, because I've learned that those are very important aspects in talking about consciousness and knowing what it is. And I like this summary that ChatGPT gave me, and I agree with it. And it is definitely bringing out some very important points about the relationship between consciousness, spirit, and the nature of the universe. Here is what it said. From a spiritual perspective, consciousness is often seen as a bridge between the finite self, the little I, the you, and the infinite, a portal to deeper states of being, unity, or transcendence. And in a cosmic context, conscious, uh, con- consciousness can be viewed as a fundamental aspect of the universe itself, either as the source of physical existence or coexisting with the fabric of reality, suggesting that human awareness is not isolated, but part of the greater whole that links all life, all matter, and all energy in an ongoing process of evolution and realization. So those answers point to some very important things, and I'm going to continue to explore into those. Consciousness is fundamental. Consciousness is ultimately the core of who you are because it is an inherent part of the universe itself. Now, materialists believe that consciousness is the result of functioning of the brain. And in recent years, physicists and other researchers have come to understand that consciousness is an inherent and fundamental part of the universe. That discovery has been the result of an enormous amount of scientific research, especially in the fields of quantum physics and cosmology, but also in biology, cellular science, advanced consciousness studies, energy physics, and others. This breakthrough became official in 2022, not very long ago, with three quantum physicists. When three quantum physicists received the Nobel Prize in Physics that year for discovering the so-called quantum principles apply to objects at larger scales, including the cosmic scale of the whole universe. The awards were based on work originally published in 2018. So these discoveries are fairly new, but you should know about them. They are very important. But it is not just the application of quantum principles that has changed. There is now a growing understanding coming from many different fields of study that the universe is a unified entity which is alive, i.e., conscious, with meaning, and is evolving purposefully. That is a major shift, not just for science, but for everyone everywhere. And this is vitally important in our understanding of how and why changing the world is not only possible, but that it is a part of a continuously ongoing process. Evolution of the universe has been going on from its very, maybe forever, but definitely for the physical universe from the Big Bang and continues today. Consciousness and its partner, information, are now understood to be at the core of the physical universe just as much as energy is. Everything is energy, but scientists are just now coming to understand that energy is created by and governed by consciousness and information. They have known for a century or more that energy and matter arise out of the quantum field, sometimes called the unified field. But only in the last 10 years or so has consciousness and information come to be better understood as fundamental by scientists from the perspectives of both theory and measured data. This is very important. They now it is has become very well established by solid evidence that consciousness is indeed a fundamental part of the universe itself. Two of the best books available on the new understandings in physics and cosmology are The Cosmic Hologram, published in 2017 by Jude Currivan, a PhD, and another is You Are the Universe, published in 2018 by Deepak Chopra and Minas Kafatos. Two other books worth mentioning are Consciousness and the Universe, published in 2017 by Sir Roger Penrose and several other co-authors, and How Consciousness Became the Universe, published in 2015 by a number of multiple co-authors. Now, Jude Currivan, who I've interviewed in my podcast, is a leading cosmologist in the new scientific understanding of the universe and the fundamental roles that consciousness and information play and how the universe works, based on major work and studies done by cosmologists and physicists within the last 10 years. And it's continuing at a rapid pace. She has documented the current scientific findings in the book I mentioned, the Cosmic Hologram. And she also set an important context in another book called The Story of Gaia, which really dives into the story of the evolution of the universe and of the Earth in particular. Here are some of the key points backed by scientific evidence related to consciousness and human beings. And I've learned these directly from Jude Currivan, but I think they apply to all of the different scientists and researchers who are exploring this. Our entire universe is conscious, one unified whole, evolving and alive. Consciousness equals life, and life equals consciousness. You may have not thought about that relationship before, but it's important. The universe exists meaningfully and evolves purposefully. Mind and consciousness aren't something we have, but rather what we and the whole world are. We are part of the cosmic mind. We are part of the living universe. Mind and matter, therefore, are unified. They're not. We can talk about them as two different things, but they are, in fact, unified. They are parts of a unified universe. Consciousness, wholeness, and unity are inherent characteristics of the universe at every scale, from the smallest to the largest, the whole universe itself. There is no true separation anywhere except in the illusion of appearance. We must now see unity as a universal principle. This is very important. I have been doing a lot of talking over the years about how important unity and love are. And that's because we are unity. And the problem in the world right now is that people are not awake to who they truly are. They are operating at a low level of consciousness, and therefore they believe in separation. And all of the problems that we see in the world arise out of separation. Now, you've heard me say that untold number of times, but we must now see unity as a universal principle. We must see that all people are a part of one universe and one planet and one humanity. Once you let that sink in, that changes how you should see and react to the world around you. And the last point in that list is that human beings are part of the purposeful, continuous, and ongoing conscious evolution of the universe. Consciousness is evolving with the evolution of the universe. So, the evolution of consciousness is happening along with the physical evolution of the universe, of planets and physical beings, the galaxies, etc. These findings comprise a radical new understanding of the universe and our role in it. And amazingly, they bring science into agreement with esoteric spiritual teachings and indigenous wisdom for the first time in modern history. I say it that way because there may have been a point in time, a very long time ago, when perhaps the unity of science and the understanding of science and spiritual teachings and indigenous wisdom were more uh, integrated. But since the 1700s, with Isaac Newton and others, they science has been totally separate. Science chose to not pay attention to consciousness. We need to share these major new insights with all people throughout the world because it changes not just what we think about ourselves, but who we truly are. Understanding consciousness is the key to understanding your personal power because if you are not aligned with the universe in your thinking and your actions, you may not be using your inherent capabilities and gifts effectively, or worse, you may be working against the natural forces of the universe. And that is true. That's what we see happening in the world today. It is what is wrong with the world. You can change your life to give you the experiences and the results that you desire, but that depends on one, being aligned in your consciousness with the universe, and two, on paying attention to your own level of awareness in your daily life and raising it to more expanded awareness as needed. And another excellent resource for understanding consciousness I've found is Deepak Chopra's series of writings that have been free on LinkedIn for several years as his newsletter called Reinventing Life. Now, he is now publishing a new column on consciousness on Substack as a paid subscription service, focusing on new practical topics every week that promote higher consciousness and make it very understandable and accessible to everyone. Expanding your awareness. One way to begin expanding your awareness is to start paying more attention to nature all around you. Notice the flowers, trees, the birds, and for 1 minute, give your attention, for example, to one flower, perhaps, or one tree. See its beauty. I've got a beautiful tree right outside my window. If you're outside there, smell its fragrance. Notice a tree and its majesty. Notice a bird or a flock of birds and see their beauty, their divine intelligence, and how totally alive and natural they are. Another way is to start paying more attention to what you are experiencing and feeling within yourself throughout your day. Do you feel good or do you feel less than perfectly healthy? Do you feel happy? Or are you spending most of your time thinking about how someone or the world generally has wronged you? Are you stressed or are you calmly aware and going about your business? A more advanced way to raise your consciousness is by practicing mindfulness. You do that by paying attention in more than normal detail to what you are doing. How are you how you are doing it, and what you are experiencing as you do what you are doing. Importantly, mindfulness enables you to become aware of your own thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. And that is the first step to changing your thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, and therefore your actions. Mindfulness takes you out of your normal doing out of habit and instead shifts you into being and doing much more consciously. You will soon realize just how habitualized you normally are, and if you are being honest, how many choices you make unconsciously. Unconscious decisions are helpful in simple, well proven choices. But for all other choices, you will always get better results by making them more consciously, with more awareness, and with greater awareness, and ultimately by tapping into the cosmic mind. If you want to learn more about mindfulness, I recommend the book Wherever You Go, There You Are by John Kabat-Zinn, which I first read back in 1995. But there are many other excellent resources available today. Um, but here is a simple exercise from the book I just mentioned by Kabat-Zinn. Try this: stopping, sitting down, and becoming aware of your breathing once in a while throughout the day. It can be for 5 minutes or even 5 seconds. Let go into full acceptance of the present moment, including how you are feeling and what you perceive to be happening. For those moments, don't try to change anything at all. Just breathe and let go. Breathe and let be. Die to having to have anything be different in this moment, in your mind and in your heart. Give yourself permission to allow this moment to be exactly as it is, and allow yourself to be exactly as you are. Give yourself some time to allow this moment to be exactly as it is, and allow yourself to be exactly as you are. Then, when you're ready, move in the direction your heart tells you to go, mindfully and with resolution. Now, there's much more to be said about mindfulness, but I wanted to give you a simple mindfulness exercise that a mindfulness teacher might give you. If you decide to start being more aware, you can begin by noticing what you are noticing periodically during the day. Notice if you are feeling stressed or upset, and then take a moment to become aware of why you are stressed or upset. And then choose to do something constructive to resolve your stress or upsetness, or simply choose to let it go. Are you multitasking when it would be more effective to do the highest priority task first and then shift to something else? Or have you been at your desk too long and simply need to get up and take a short walk to break the tension and allow yourself to relax and perhaps get some fresh air? Awareness is far more conscious and powerful way of being than being stuck in your mind and letting your thoughts tell you stories, put you in judgment, and in effect, lead you around blindly. Thinking should be a tool that we use while being in a state of presence, present moment awareness. But the vast majority of people are stuck in their monkey minds almost all the time. And that is not very effectively, especially if they are identified with their thoughts and as a result are believing what their thoughts are telling them. Things like, you aren't good enough, things aren't good enough and will never get better. I hate this job, or why can't I do it better? And on and on. Are you beginning to see that your level of consciousness determines how happy you are and the results you are getting in your life? Consciousness is something that is worthy of study because you can learn to shift higher and deeper levels of awareness and thereby change what you are experiencing in life and the results that you are producing. When you spend more time in awareness, you can use thinking selectively as needed to greater effect. And interestingly, you will always be more creative. I'm going to stop there for this episode. I will pick up from there in the next episode. But think about what you've heard about what consciousness is and why it is important to you to be aware of consciousness and, of course, to be aware of awareness, which is what consciousness is. So, have a great day and a great life. See you next time.